sociale media. Geef een hartelijk applaus, Jonas Lund.
Hi. Cool, it works. Hey, I'm Jonas Lund. Thanks so much for inviting me to talk. Whoa. I like to start my presentations with this slide just because it shows like three different versions of networks. Because most of my work and my practice centers around networks, and it takes different shapes and forms, and I use it in different ways, but it's just like a little introduction. And just a little note, I made this presentation yesterday and then I had to send it here, but I changed it, so some slides might be like wrong. So Dagen invited me here to talk about two works which are a bit old for me because I haven't talked about them for a very long time, so I would just like go through them in a bit. This is a piece from 2011. So we spend a lot of time online and we waste a lot of time on Facebook and Twitter and everything, and sometimes it's hard to kind of figure out what's the reward. It's usually not so kind of tangible, and it's, yeah, how to say it, it's kind of, like you're fulfilling a service to someone, but you don't really know what it gets you. So, wow. Somehow, I was thinking, this is a picture of In Search of Lost Time by Marcel Proust. It's like one of the longest novels ever written. I think it's 1.5 million words, depending on the translation. As a reference, it took the Swedish woman 30 years to translate this book. 30 years of her life she dedicated towards translating In Search of Lost Time. And I always wanted to read this book, but I never got around to it. So I had this solution in my mind. So I wrote a tiny little script that would tweet parts of the book for me once every hour, 140 characters at a time. So you can see it here. It's like intersected into my Twitter stream somehow. So like just as a kind of friend or someone I follow, Marcel Proust becomes part of my social graph, and I can slowly, little by little, kind of read the whole book without any considerable effort, but I will get something back from it. Like one of the key concepts of this book is the notion of involuntarily memory. Memories that are triggered just by like walking around, and you get the kind of association, and you get, aha, this is what I think about now because of whatever. So I figured I could kind of involuntarily intersect Marcel Proust into my brain, and then at some point in the future I could pull out references from this book whenever I needed to. So like this slide is just all there is to this piece. Like this is the script. So it's only like 43 lines, it's very short. Here's his Twitter page. So you can follow him, his username is Proust2000. It started in 2011 in November sometime, and it will complete around like the fall of 2017. So it also gives a sense of the sort of depth, the length of this book, like just how much material it is, and how it kind of holds up to the rest of the tweets. Also, it's a kind of interesting thing to take a book and then release it out into the world, although like the first volumes of In Search of Lost Time is in the public domain, so anyone can download them. And the second piece I want to talk about is this one, which is called 1,164,041, or How I Failed in Getting the Guinness World Book of Records of Most Comments on a Facebook Post. It's quite a long title. Yeah, on Facebook, wait, I'm gonna show this guy first. It's a little introduction. It's a 2-minute video.
It would be a Facebook first.
Well,
It would be a Facebook first. More than 1 million comments on a single post could get a Sacramento woman into the Guinness Book of World Records. Ben Deasy has the post that started it all.
If you've ever played Frontierville before, you know it takes a certain sort of person. And it takes a lot of time.
It's got this funny little pioneer music.
Kathy Matthews has spent hours harvesting digital crops and chopping down electronic trees. Then, she and her Frontierville friends came up with a quest of their own. Break the world record for Facebook responses to a single post.
I'm leaving my mark on the world. that would be it, because, you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I really haven't done anything phenomenal.
Until now, 1,001,291 responses to a single post, nearly doubling the old record.
About 107 of us that participated.
Wait a minute, did you just say 107 people? I've got to do the math on that. 1,001,291 posts divided by 107 people. That means each person posted 9,358 times.
I'm needing some hand transplants, I think.
She did it with mostly two-letter words, repeated over and over
And once you get the rhythm going, you can go pretty fast.
and over again. And now what? Now that those 107 brave souls have carried us all on their shoulders boldly forward to this new level of human achievement, now what happens?
We'll probably all go back to playing our games.
She has very nice friends.
So 107 people working together to create something which is kind of to the outsider from these 107 people so completely mundane and pointless that it like boggles the mind. You're like, why? And I find that like super fascinating in this sense of the kind of pointless labor that we all put into Facebook. Like we all do. It's all the same. Like all of the users of Facebook create the value of Facebook. I find it like it's like super interesting, especially in relation to this, which is very much on the mind of people these days, which is how the probability of how likely your job is to be replaced by a computer or an algorithm. So in some ways, in the future, when there will be automatic trucks driving around instead of the 3.5 million truck drivers in the US, there's going to be 3.5 million people will have more time to waste on Facebook, basically. So it will probably be the solution, like fake workers just working on Facebook. Anyways, at the same time, like what Dagan also mentions about the jogging, at this time, this was in 2012, when Facebook was still kind of like on people's minds and people liked it. These days, Facebook is more or less over, I suppose. And Instagram too, I guess, if Richard Prince makes work about it. In any case, the point was, during this time, like the jogging talked about it a lot, this kind of constant broadcast. You have to have a constant stream, a constant broadcast of your brand. If you don't have it, you don't really exist, and it doesn't really matter so much what the broadcast is as long as it's there. It can kind of self-perpetuate itself forever and just like keep on going. And all of this, not again, all of this presented a problem for me. I was going to travel to China for a bit, and as everyone knows, in China there's no Facebook or YouTube or Twitter because of the great firewall of China. So I had this kind of solution to this problem, and I would try and break the Guinness World Book of Record all by myself by writing a little script that would add a comment to this post once every other second. It would just say comment 1, comment 2, comment 3, comment 4, comment 5. And as I was in China, just enjoying food, having a good time, this script was running like all the time, just adding comments. So this was like the purest example of having a constant stream, a constant broadcast, because this ticker on the right side of a Facebook was constantly just like, Jonas Lund commented on his own Facebook post, Jonas Lund commented on his own Facebook post. Which like to many people was rather annoying, but it kind of increased my brand presence on Facebook, let's say. So then I came back to Europe after being in China, and then my script had been running, but it wasn't as fast as I hoped, so maybe it only had like 50,000 comments when I got back. So it took another 3 months before it was completed, where I had 1,100,000 comments, which I then compiled into an application and sent it away to the Guinness Book of Records. To also, in some out of spite, just take it away from these 107 people. I'm not sure, it felt like the right thing to do, so they could like focus on something else. And then like 3-4 weeks later, after waiting and waiting and waiting, I got this email back from them, which says, using automated scripts or bots are not in the spirit of a Guinness World Records achievement. So they didn't recognize, and also they didn't check that the post, because a lot of people added comments as it was going on. But so like, and there's no way to kind of dispute this claim, so my sort of desire to get a Guinness World Book Record was like vanished. But it didn't stop me from making a show about it. No. So actually, this was planned as a celebration party for when I got the record, because I was convinced that I had the record, because at the time when I was applying, it was the post with the most Facebook comments on it. So I made a lot of merchandise that would have been sold had I gotten it. But then since I didn't get it, it only became like these singular prototypes of merchandise to kind of bring back the comments. So it has all the comments printed on them all over, flip-flops and stuff. Like umbrella. Depending on how I'm on time, I can show one last video. Am I good with time? It's 3 minutes long. Okay, it's good. This is a more recent piece. It's a video, which is kind of a imaginary world where everything is about Facebook. Basically, it's less those short.
Good afternoon. It's February 7th, 2012. This is for my daughter, Hannah. And more importantly, for all her friends on Facebook who thought that her little rebellious post was cute.
I think things go in fits and spurts. When I first was at Facebook, I was definitely feeling way unbalanced and, more worried about not seeing my kids. And then I kind of got my feet wet, got the teams in place, and learned, what we were doing. And now it feels more balanced.
I'm thrilled that I've been able to share with you how to crack open the social media strongbox to generate some serious ROI on your time, effort, and money you put into your social media.
Facebook's one of the fastest growing phenomenons on the web today, so it's a great place to start driving free traffic to your website.
Sorry, I'm kind of nervous. We have the President of the United States here.
Not bad for a website that didn't even exist until 6 years ago. The story of its creation by founder Mark Zuckerberg has become almost mythological.
Privacy is part of the discourse of the past.
This is what you get when every month you clog my feed with these huge ass posts saying, okay?
It's online, but is it public information? The C in cool stands for celebrity-like branding. The main goal here is to make sure your overall brand is consistent with a strong point of view that gets carried across all of your marketing.
But this is the internet. It's a lot bigger than a grocery store.
You're kind of set in stone. In some ways, I'm less worried about what changes than the fact that it might just now stay the same. In other words, this is the formula. This is the way they're going to make money, and their shareholders and investors are going to demand that they keep this up.
Do you know the fastest growing part of Facebook right now is women over the age of 40? Your clients are there.
What we are trying to do at Facebook is just help people connect and communicate more efficiently. That when you give everyone a voice and give people power, the system usually ends up in a really good place.
Then at the end of the video to her laptop computer,
This right here is my 45.
shooting it repeatedly with a handgun that got everyone's attention.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How many of you are on Facebook?
So let me ask you this, are you going to buy?
No, I don't buy these things.
Second O on the path to cool stands for over-deliver every time.
There's a good chance that most of your users are already on Facebook, and for the ones who aren't, they probably will be soon.
Founding a new social network, a new social group, social education, social commerce, social gaming, social this, social that, social reading, social TV, social medicine, social education.
All right, here's my question. How many of you are on Facebook? A lot of you on Facebook?
Thank you.